Hello, and welcome to this edition of Motivation and Money with me, Mark Terrell, and my co host, Fanny Snaith. How are you, Fanny?
I'm excellent, thank you very much on this fine day. The sun is shining, it's very warm in September and it's lovely.
Good stuff. Excellent. It's just started raining here, but we won't talk about we're not here to talk about the weather, are we? We're talking about today how do world events affect us? And interestingly, before we went live, I talked to Fanny as we do, and she's written an article about this topic, which is a bit spooky because I didn't know that. So it's in her local paper, which she does regularly. So catch Fanny in the Cheltenham Post on a regular slot. And so the reason I brought this up is that obviously there's been a lot of change going on in the UK now. We have the other change that's happening with the passing of Queen Elizabeth II. We now have the King Charles III, and all that stuff that's going on. And obviously there's two things going on here. We're mourning the loss of one thing, and then we're sort of celebrating or looking forward to the new stuff, the future. What's that going to be like? So the reason why it's interesting to me on a motivational level is that some of us are motivated by new things, change, and things that are coming, and we can see opportunities, and those sort of things excite us and give us energy. Other people are motivated by things to stay same and have certainty. So there's two different things there. Well, obviously, we've got a lot of things going on here at the moment, but there's not a lot of certainty. So people that like things to stay certain and predictable will probably be a little bit unsteady at the moment. And those that are maybe more future driven and thinking about possibilities might be looking more towards actually what would this allow to happen? What would be the new focus, which maybe wasn't the focus in the new regime or whatever we want to call it with the royal family. So I think it's an interesting topic, and obviously the way we deal with these things and how we observe things is obviously on the TV all the time, non-stop. There's ceremonies going on, so we really get wrapped up into it, and we will probably be for the next week. So that's the reason why I thought it was an interesting topic. So what's your spin on it, Fanny, seeing that you've sort of written something about it recently?
Well, first of all, I think there's no such thing as certainty,
Yep.
is there? So, however, I know that some of us like to predict and hang on to this. If I can make something certain, I mean, I say to people, if you start managing your money in this particular way, it is certain that your wealth will increase. However, that isn't going to stop you being plucked out of the sky by an alien and taken to a utopian planet
Yeah.
tomorrow. That I'd rather than being knocked down by a bus. That's what tends to happen. So, first of all, there is no such thing as certainty. So, whilst we're spending an enormous amount of time and our energy looking to the future and possibly looking at the past, oh, how things used to be, it's never going to be the same, and all that kind of stuff. Whereas that's okay. It's not really very useful.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think. So this article that I wrote, which is "Your attention is where you are," somebody said that to me, brought that up and said, where is your attention? Where are you focusing your attention?
Mm-hmm.
And if 95% of the things that we do are habits, and we create them from where we put our focus, if we're focusing our attention on the doom and gloom, for instance, then that's something that we're going to get close to. I mean, I know some people, and I've also done it myself, I have to say, that you'll be sitting in the kitchen having a nice cup of coffee, reading the local paper with the radio on, right? And you're literally constantly fed a stream of, generally, I'm going to say gloom and doom, because if you listen to both the radio, watch the television, read the papers, the amount of positive news that you get compared to the amount of negative news it's ridiculous. You actually have to Google positive news and trawl through it. Okay, so the stories aren't as exciting as the ones that breed fear. And also, okay, so we are beings that are created to be generally on alert for that, to get ready into that fight, flight or freeze.
Mhm.
But really, how, when you hear something, you go, oh my God, it's awful. All the energy prices are going up and, oh, it's really awful. And I'm really, really worried. Then you carry on listening to the television and the radio and to think, hopefully you're going to hear something better, where actually all it's going to do is just hammer in what you've already got. You can end up on a very big downward spiral, which affects your self-esteem, it affects your confidence, and it affects your self-worth. And affects your identity as to who you are, because we're living in this world that's all like this. So that's one side of it.
Yeah.
I mean, when we think about focusing our attention, this actually happened to me once, but I know people have written about it before. Riding a bike as a kid, riding down a pathway, and saw a tree. It was a thin pathway, and I was always a little bit wobbly on my bike. I was never a professional bike rider, very good.
You better
And I
know.
saw, not really, no.
Okay.
I don't do it often enough to practice. I probably would get better if I practiced, but I'm always a bit like, I'm not,
Okay.
like totally. I mean, I'm fine. I can ride a bike, but anyway, riding down this thin path, and I saw a tree, was looking at this tree, and ended up heading towards this tree.
Mhm.
And the more I looked at this tree, the more I was going for it, and I hit it, and it hurt.
Mm.
Whereas, when racing drivers, motorbike riders, etc., they focus on the road. They will never look at the tree. So it's, where do you focus your attention on things? So that's one thing about it. Also, thinking about the future. Okay, we've lost the Queen. I love the Queen. Prince Charles, don't quite feel so warm towards. However, looking at his history and looking at some of the things he's done, there are some massive, massive positives that he could bring to this next monarchy, I think, bring to the monarchy now, if we choose to look at those. So let's look and see what the possibilities are rather than the negatives. There's a new, so do you want me to shush now? Do you want to say something,
No,
Mark?
you
Because
carry on. No, it's fine.
Like,
No, if you've got something
there's
to...
there's a thing called newspage.co.uk. We'll put a thing in the show notes, which is, you can sign up to it and they will send you emails on your particular topics to ask you to write your opinion, which will then be put out to the press, and you can get into the press. And I've been in the press a number of times from that particular page. However, I've noticed that when I'm writing for it, I tend to go into Sun, Daily Mail, Gloom, any newspaper, gloom and doom mode. What's your opinion on the latest interest rate rise? What's your opinion on the state of the economy, etc.?
Mhm.
And I find myself going into that ilk, that mind frame of going, well, I can see people doing this and I'm speaking. But I've also noticed that if I write positive stuff, well, just remember, there are loads of opportunities out there. There is plenty of money out there. We just need to basically focus on what we're going to do about the problems rather than sit in our problems and think about how awful everything is.
Mm.
People don't want to publish that.
No, it's not so interesting, is it, for some reason?
So so every single day, bearing in mind that news station, I actually think that following the Queen's death, I think we should go back to only having news bulletins X times a day. Because I think we're constantly being fed.
What, scrap the news channels? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, scrap the news channels. Seriously.
Yeah.
I mean, I would love to sit down and talk to one of these news readers. They must be, I mean, I'd be so depressed.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, they talk about dentists being one of the most depressed professions, which is interesting. I don't know why that would be. I mean, I've just had some work done and had a tooth removed, and I was thinking, I don't know why. Why would that be? Why would it be that dentists are particularly, have troubles with their mental health? But when you said that, you think, when you are saying it all the time, it almost becomes part of you, doesn't it? I mean, you can't get away from it. It's like negative, negative, negative. And there's very rarely. I mean, I'm saying that let's sort of balance out. But at the moment, there is lots of coverage about what's happening, but there is some nice stories, isn't there? And I've just been to a funeral. I went to a funeral yesterday of one of my ex members of staff. Okay.
Oh.
She worked for me for about 20 years, and And I was actually mentioned in the eulogy because one of the things we had to do when she worked for us was because she was getting elderly. She was very, very proud of her section. She did the soft drinks. Well, the soft drinks is not the lightest of sections. It's got lots of bottles and cans and lumping. And she was just cracking on with it. One day I just said, you can't keep doing this. You can't keep. We'll put you on something else. And I had to have a little bit of a gentle conversation. Say, I think we should do something a little less intense with weight. So she moved over and did the card section and some other lighter stuff. It was because I didn't want to lose her, to be honest. She was just a diamond, and she was part of the family. And it was going back to going to the funeral yesterday. It reminded me of those important things that you have the good stories that happen, and it's easy to remember the trials and tribulations, but when you go to a funeral, you get to know things that you maybe didn't know before, but also remembering things that are nice things. And one of the things so she lived to the ripe old age of 99.
Wow.
And what I learned yesterday was that when she was born, she was her mother was she was illegitimate, what they would have been called illegitimate in the day, and because of that fact, her mother was rejected by everyone around her. Because of that fact, one day she decided to walk into the sea with my member of staff in our arms. Yeah. So
with the view of not coming out again.
Yes, that was her. She didn't come out, but luckily they saved my member of staff. So she went on to have a full life in 99 years.
Oh my God, I got goose. I
know. So what would happen? Then obviously, then you get to think, well, all those people in there, all the family would not have been there if something, she wasn't rescued. Nobody knows how she was rescued, but eventually she was adopted, and she had a full life, and she was just a diamond. She was just one of those people that, you didn't want to leave. You didn't want to, when you employed her, you knew that she'd always have something to bring.
So there's a lot of joy in that. And the thing is, it's about getting the best out of situations. It's interesting because I think I'm finally learning properly, because I like listening to the news every so often, because I like to keep up what's going on, because people come to me and go, oh, there's only, and I want to basically be not sympathetic. I want to be empathetic, be able to, not go, well, I don't know what you're talking about because I don't listen to the news. I don't find that very helpful sometimes for a client. If you're trying to tell something to somebody and they go, well, have you heard it? I'd much prefer to go, yes, I did hear it, but turn it off.
Yeah.
Rather than just go, oh, well, I don't watch that. I don't have a television in my house or whatever.
Yeah.
But just to be fed that negative stream. There was an interesting thing, right? So go back to the bike and the tree for a minute. Do you remember Tony Robbins? And he used to say he used to go and train basketball players, and he used to sit them in a classroom and sit there and get them to shoot balls. What do they call them? Take baskets.
Yeah.
In their minds.
Yes.
And I know you can do it with piano playing. I think you can do it with pretty much everything.
They can do it with golf. There's somebody that teaches golf that says, I don't want you to pick up a golf club. I just want for the next week, I want you to sit and think about your swing, think about it, and then come back. And they've actually proved that the people that did that had better results than those that kept hitting balls for a week.
Exactly. So why do I say this? I say this because if we did that with life a lot more, some people say it's the law of attraction or whatever. It's not. It's scientifically proven, neuroscience and all this kind of stuff. But if we did that a little bit more, rather than sitting there going, oh,
tea suckers.
We'd be a different planet, wouldn't we?
Absolutely. It makes such a massive difference, wouldn't it? Not that it's not a matter of ignoring the things that are going on. It's just having a positive thing on how can we deal with this, and make it so it doesn't become a bigger problem than it really is. So, yeah.
But seriously, I think it's really valid to say that the sheer amount of stuff that we are fed is really quite seriously unhealthy.
Yeah.
For those that have a constant feed going into their brains.
Yeah. So anybody's joining this, we're about sort of halfway through our 30 minutes we normally do. We're talking about how world events affect us and how we deal with it. There's been lots of things going on recently. And obviously we have to have, I think, a strategy around how we deal with these things, because there are always going to be things in the future. That's one thing for certain, is that change is predictable. It will happen. So it's about having a strategy around it. I think that's what we're alluding to here, really, is that,
Yeah,
having a strategy around how you deal with change, and your mindset around it, so that you don't
yeah.
become engulfed in the negativity, so you can remain positive.
Yeah, I mean, it is interesting. The other day, I went in my group coaching program. One of the guys there said, "Fanny, I'm really, really worried about the energy price hikes, and I know that we're going to really struggle with it, and it's going to be impossible. So me and my partner are thinking about taking extra jobs, and there happens to be a place over the road whereby we could get part-time jobs. What do you think?" And I was like saying, okay, so because we talk about the money types, etc., and we talk about the money magician, which is faith, trust, and balance. And I said, first of all, I said, so you're very worried. I said, are you still worried? And he said, yes. And I said, how is worrying helping you? And he went, it's not. I said, okay. So the other part is, so you say you're worried, but you're also taking steps to fill the void financially that you're feeling is going to be coming along the way, which is real magician warrior behavior. Amazing.
Mm-hmm.
So what's the point of hanging on to the worry? And he went, yeah, you're right. And he actually felt that it was easy to let go of because it wasn't doing anything.
No.
I mean, we talk about false expectations appearing real, when we feel fear, false
Mm-hmm.
expectations appearing real, as
Mm-hmm.
FEAR. But if you're going to spend your time and your energy and your life and probably your money, because you're going to spend time doing it, worrying about these things, my question is, what does it give you? The worry is a good thing to have there first of all,
Yeah.
because
Absolutely.
it's sparking action. But once you're in that mode of action, try and let go of the worry.
Yeah. But the important thing is you've got to take action, because if you take no action, then the worry just stays, isn't it? I
Of
think that's
course.
how it gets ingrained, and worry sort of gets worse and worse. Is that if you sort of gets frozen in time where you just can't do anything, then
Yes.
that situation is not going to change. You're not doing anything about it. So the important thing is to recognise it. Okay, I'm worried about something. What can I do? And making sure that you're doing something, even if that's just talking to someone like yourself about I need to talk to someone that can talk to me about money or whatever it is. That might be something that enough. It might be enough for you to just do that, but it's just
Well,
for you to
even
decide. But it's about doing something, isn't it?
yeah, but and even actually going through the physical process of feeling, I am worrying. Oh yeah, that's what worrying feels like. I just usually just sort of did it before, but
Mm.
I am worrying. This is worry, and now I'm moving to action to move through it. I mean, that's proper expanding as a human being. That's
Yeah,
proper expansion. That's proper growth
yeah,
because you're understanding what your feelings and emotions. You're taking it on board, and then you're acting rather than it just being automatic. Whether you're sitting in worry or whether you are actually taking action, it's so nice to actually be able to go through that physical process to go, I am in control of my thoughts.
yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, we go back to, you mentioned the law of attraction and all that stuff. When it's mentioned, people get the complete wrong idea. They reckon that you have this idea and it's just going to magically can happen. It's not about that. It's actually it's turning the mind into projector. So you know what you want and you are moving towards it and you're taking action to allow it to happen.
Yeah.
It's like you're not, if you're like looking for a new partner, you can't just sit indoors and wait for someone to knock on the door, say hello. I want, you're my ideal man, woman. I want to live with
I
you.
got a letter from the
It's not.
universe.
It's just not going to happen. It's about doing the things that will allow it to happen. So you've got to go out and meet people, and allowing it to happen is the most important thing. So it goes back to action again. Do something to allow it to happen. So, but you might not get the action right first time, but keep trying and refining what you do, and so that what works well, do more of that, and things that don't work, do less of that.
And that's a really brilliant thing, because I was talking to my very good friend Shane Duff this morning, and he's a property developer now. He's an ex-professional footballer. We're very good friends. We met at a rah-rah 3-day motivational event, which was the T. Harv Eker one, The Secrets of the Millionaire Mind. Absolutely fantastic. And we've been firm friends ever since. And we were talking this morning, and I was talking to him about how I was reshaping my business and some of the projects that were coming up. And, I support him in his business as well. And it's, and I also mentioned to him that I was doing this training to become a cognitive hypnotherapist. And he goes, wow, he said, you've got it all going on. I said, yeah, there's loads of stuff going on. But I know, and I said it like this, I said, I know that when I've pulled this off, I am going to fly. And he said to me, wow, you said that. You said you really believe that, don't you? And I went, yeah, I do. And he goes, you said that with such conviction that I don't really see how you can fail.
Yeah, no doubt whatsoever. Yeah. Absolutely. I agree with him from what I know, what you're up to. So I think, yeah.
But anybody, I'm talking about anybody.
But no, absolutely. That's the thing, isn't it? You've got to believe in it. And
studying to do this course, the shaping of the business, is not going to happen by itself.
No. Exactly. So it's like taking the action, realizing that you won't get it right, allowing yourself to fail, or whatever you want to call it. Didn't get it right this time, you do something else. You just keep moving towards it and allowing it to form. Your business and my business are not the same as what we started out in, are they? And that's pretty much the same with any business. You don't start out with a business that stays the same. Back in our retail days, we started out as traditional grocers. We realised that we can't stay like that. So we became convenience stores. So we opened 7 days a week, early till late. And because we got in early, we reaped the benefits of that, because we were, different. But times go on, people catch up, see the successful people, what they're doing, and they copy. And so eventually your market becomes sort of saturated. So you have to then keep adapting and innovating and bringing new ideas in. That's
exactly.
That's the key.
And I look at your LinkedIn profile and look at some of the stuff that you're putting out there, and I can see you it's like you're constantly moving forward. I love it. I love you constantly, like little tweaks to your LinkedIn profile, little something there, a little post about that, and you're talking about, I know that a lot of the things that you're posting about at the moment is how you get staff and how you keep them. Well, I mean, how on point is that?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And this is it. And it's just about being awake and just being aware and doing something.
I think most importantly is it's what our work allows to happen. So you do work with people around money, all that stuff. But what does that allow to happen? It changes their life, doesn't it? And the same with what I do. I see it changes businesses and it changes lives. And I was talking about this to somebody else, and I said, ultimately, my focus is to make everybody's, when they come to work, that they get as much fulfillment as possible. And that could be the business owner, people that join that business and join the team, whatever. I just want them to get as much fulfillment as possible out of their role. And that benefits them, it benefits the business. That's my focus.
But going back to the title of this discussion is how we deal with the things that go on in the world and the things around us. You, Mark Terrell, you have looked and seen what's going on out there. And through all of the stuff that you've done with the reluctant leadership and the motivational maps and all that kind of stuff, you've plucked out, people need to keep staff right now. And you're focusing on that. Yeah. And it's that's you reacting to what's going on out there.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'd like to say, well done.
Thank you very much. Thank you. So it is about, going back to the overall topic here is about, taking in what's going on around us, but not allowing it to prevent us from moving forward. We have to keep moving forward and taking positive actions.
Yes.
But I
there's
think
one,
we need to be aware of what's going on, because we don't want to just block it out.
well, there's also one other thing that I wanted to say as well is we don't react, we respond.
Yeah.
Right? We use the word respond rather than react to when things are happening around us.
Yeah.
How am I going to respond to that rather than just react? And secondly, okay, we can do that. But what's also really nice, and after all, we are on LinkedIn, etc., is having some kind of coach who's given you a big prod in the back to keep moving forward as well.
Yeah.
And I've been doing some really good work. I give him a shout out. Work with Paul Rees at the moment, and he's really pushing me out of my comfort zone, which when somebody's doing that and pushing you out of your comfort zone, it's really easy. I've sort of gone, oh, I don't know if I really want but and then I go, come on, this is right, we need to move forward.
Yeah.
We're really clever people, us human beings, and I think that if we can actually allow ourselves to realize that and tell ourselves a little bit more often that we are, and that we can make our own decisions, and we can carve our own path in life, with fun and adventure, with curiosity and with courage, and not just suck in this negative energy that's so much around us, and I don't know why it's around us apart from the fact that naturally people like it.
Yeah.
If we can switch off, I think this planet would be amazing. Oh, I'm feeling all inspired.
Excellent. I'm trying to find the quote, Marianne Williamson's quote around. Do you know the one I'm referring to about we are? Let me try and find it, because we're getting towards the end of our. We are basically, what she says is we're more in fear of our possibilities than actually fear of what we actually can't do. So it's actually we're fearful that we might become so powerful that's the fear we've really got in many cases.
Yeah, fear of success rather than a fear of failure.
Yeah, it's what she talks about, the light and the dark, and it is remembering that we have so many possibilities, and if we approach things with the right frame of mind, and allowing, and I think the most also very important is surrounding ourselves with the right sort of people, positive thinking. That's why we do these, isn't it? Because you just talked about energy there. Motivation's about energy. We need energy. If we haven't got it, we can't really achieve much. So it's making steps in that right direction. So we've got the right people that are supporting us and not sort of being drainers. Heard that. Surround yourself with boosters and not drainers, because if you get the balance wrong, you just get people that are dragging energy out of you all the time. So
yeah, exactly, and it's very, 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 very contagious.
Yes,
it's one of the most contagious diseases that we have. Dis-ease
indeed.
Dis-ease.
Mm-hmm.
So there we are.
There we are. 30 minutes gone, sadly. Really enjoyable. I think it's a good topic to maybe return to at some point when things are a little calmer. But maybe they won't be calmer. Maybe it'll come even more disruption. Who knows?
Well, of all the people that are, I'm going to use the term again, fannying about in the disruption, there are plenty of people out there seizing the opportunities that come from that disruption. Because where there is a problem, there is always a solution.
Yes, and yes, and there's plenty of businesses that have started in recessional times and have gone on to become even more successful.
Absolutely flying.
Yeah, exactly. Great stuff. So we better wrap up there. So I think you've said your last sort of final words. I think there's no need to add to that. So hopefully those that have tuned in, have enjoyed what we talked about. Don't forget, you can always add some comments that we will gladly reply to if you leave them, one of us, wherever you find this on the different platforms and stuff. But until the next episode of Motivation and Money, we will bid you farewell. Have a great day and see you next time.
See you next time.